What's up, Capstone family? This is Ed coming at you on this Friday, April the 1st. No serious jokes have been played on me yet so far, and I'm happy about that. Got to go to my daughter's ceremony this morning for an award she got. I was super pumped on her. I was visitor at her school, which is always fun. I feel like a giant there. It's so funny. But yeah, just an amazing morning so far. Wanted to bring you a couple things. So March for us was actually pretty slow, and trending things and what's happening on the market. And I love the data, but even like talking in office, seeing what's happening and trying to make sense of some of the things that we saw are important. From a sales side, we saw a slower March than we have historically. That might have been because last year and in the months leading up to the end of the year, we weren't focused as much on the sales portion as much as we were systems, processes, dialing in what's going on for management. That's one thing that could happen. Or, like a lot right now, the inventory out there is just not as hot as it's been. So there's a lot of people, a lot of agents that aren't as busy as they've been in the past. In addition, what we're also seeing, of course, is interest rates are going up. So people that are in the mortgage business, if they were counting on refis, like these big refi shops that popped up all over the place last year, they were jamming. The year before, crushing it. I heard this week that they're down more than almost 70% from where they were last year, which is, of course, is understandable given that interest rates are going up so much. But it's like, all right, so what else is happening and how is this affecting, our market moving forward? And to answer some of that, I brought in Miss Evan. She is here with me. I wanted her to jump in because she and I have been talking a lot about numbers this month. Evan is arguably, you're in the trenches on the management side, seeing things from applications, looking at the numbers from how many people are getting approved to the quality of the tenants to the time on the market to, all these things. And it's like, I wanted Evan to come in and kind of talk through that for a minute. Here, slide in. Get you in more of the center. There you are. Perfect. Hey, so what are you seeing right now, like on the rental side, like from March? How was March compared to others?
March is pretty slow, slower than even February. I would say we tried to push price on a lot like we were in February, and in March we weren't getting it as we were getting it in like February. Lot of properties sitting for longer than I think they should or had set or have sat in the past. Again, that could be doing with the pricing and pushing price.
So question for you. So last year, remember we saw that kind of downturn at the end of last year. It seemed like we started to see a little bit of a lull. Mm-hmm. Is that what it feels like right now?
Yeah, it feels a little bit like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is interesting. There's so many variables that come into play right now with March. Like March was, rates went up. The war in Ukraine, like all these things that negatively are impacting one thing or another, gas prices through the roof. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how much of that is just the market right now versus what we have to look forward to. What are your thoughts?
I believe in what I've been seeing is that it'll start to trend up with families.
Okay.
We always see this lull, but like you said, with some increases in pricing, increasing in just living expenses, people are trying to stay put a little bit.
That makes sense.
But as families are expanding, people are growing, people are moving here, inventory's still really low.
Yeah.
We're going to start to see once that school ends, we're going to see that uptick again, I
think. And one thing that Evan is referring to is, so on our graphs page, nice, we have a graphs page, if you look at every year, January, there's always an uptick on the rentals. Monthly average lease price per square foot, we see that little uptick right after the first of the year. It seems to cruise up. This year, we're not seeing that, which is interesting. Leading into the end of the last year, we also we saw this flat line. Now, the 12-month moving average is still going up, but if you look at the rest, it looks like it's stabilizing. And I think it's still too early to tell.
I think so too. I think some people might be staying put too.
That's true.
I know that with increases and renewals, I'm increasing and renewing a lot of people.
Right.
And that data is not being shown there.
Totally. Okay, so Evan brought another thing up. We pushed the price, just like we did last year in Ocotillo, right?
Yep.
We're trying to push the price, and dang it, sometimes it bites us. Here's the thing. We're not the only ones pushing the price. The market is getting pushed up, arguably by a lot of these bigger funds who want to see the values continue to get pushed up from price, right? Which we're seeing firsthand. Those of you that are selling, you know what I'm talking about, because it's just nuts. Behind the scenes, what we're able to get for pricing from some of these relationships we have is it's not even realistic. It's higher than MLS. It's just silly. From the rental side, they're doing the same thing. They're holding firm at their pricing, which then takes that neighborhood up to the next level, right? Next level. We follow a similar model. Half the time, we're using comps that are from these hedge funds, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so sometimes we've got to look at those comps and go, hold on, this is to those of you that are still buying properties. If you're basing your going in rental number on these hedge funds that are taking average rents that's cruising like this, they're bumping it up this much, and they've got one property that's now rented at that. They're trying to take it up there. We can't use that as a comp.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got to use...
They're holding it too.
They are, yeah. And so right now it's such an interesting time looking at this trend, this kind of flatline. We've been talking about it for weeks. Hey, rents is going to be that leading indicator of what's going to happen with this market. Do I think this market's going to tank? No. No. This market's amazing. It's just we need to see this slow down. We need to see this so that it's not so bad. This was the first week that, I don't know, I feel like in the last 10 days, we've had a lot of pressure. Increasing rents for tenants consistently obviously doesn't feel great, right? It's not something that makes us go home and feel good about. However, our job is our job. And it's in the numbers.
I think when I review comps with the tenant, just like I review it with an owner, I let them know, like, this is where the value is.
Yeah.
This is how much, rents they're going for in your neighborhood. This is what a 4-bedroom looks like. I always advise my owners to just be a tad under that market value so they see the deal and staying in that property.
Totally.
But yeah, some people are going up, a couple $100, and that is life-changing.
Yeah.
So
when the market wasn't like it is, when the market was 2 or 3 years ago, and you as the owner decided just to let it ride, it's exceptionally hard to say that anymore. I don't think we've seen a person let it ride. Would you?
Yeah, no, I am.
We can't even we can't anymore. There's too much of a gap. When it's a couple $100, when it's 300, hey, that looks pretty good. But anymore, it's just the numbers are just out of control. So as an owner, our obligation is to making sure that you're getting money from the like most of y'all are not hedge funds, right? So we're doing this for some cash flow. We're doing this for your livelihood, maybe for your retirement, right? Maybe you're on a fixed income, and this is the money that's putting money back in your pocket so you can spend during the week. So, these are conversations that we're having regularly.
Yeah. I think some owners are having just as a hard time as we are with just increasing those rents and would prefer to have their hand forced.
Yes.
Like, oh, do I, don't I, what do I do, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we can't make those decisions. We have to look at the numbers and what makes sense for all parties. And we're seeing numbers that are increasing to a point where it's like you can't leave that on the table because there hasn't been a time that you could do a turn, have a vacancy, pay for your leasing fee, all and be recovered and recoup in 1 year for some owners and still be profitable.
Yeah.
Like, what? That just didn't happen. So it's just a different time that we're going through that I think a lot of people are starting to kind of deal with in their own way, and figure out. So.
No, you're totally right. One last thing. Yep. Thanks for that. Hey, so one last thing. ACs are coming up. It's starting to get warm out here. It's going to be in the 90s again this next week. We're going to do our best to stay ahead of it. We're going to try to put together a relationship with one or two AC companies to get us some bulk pricing on going out and doing not just AC inspections, but probably like AC tune-ups, cleaning the coils, doing the heavy lifting, like getting those things dialed. If you spend the time and the money, it might cost you $150 or something like that to get that done, but it's so worth it to not have to be dealing with AC issues in the summertime, especially in a market like this. I was talking to one of our amazing clients here in the last week. Thanks, Chris. He works for a manufacturer of ACs, and just says that it's just so hard to even fabricate the parts right now. Because it's so challenging to find the materials. So again, doing our best to try to stay ahead of it. And Evan, if you've dealt with Evan directly in the past, you know that Evan cringes when she has to spend your money. It's actually kind of funny. So she really, really, really does. She has a really hard time spending your money. So help us with this AC thing so she doesn't have to spend your money on an AC unit later this summer and have the hard conversation and work through the, yeah. I'm sorry. No, but you all would be so proud of her. Like, she's amazing and how she takes care of y'all's properties. Yeah, you're dope.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much for watching. I totally appreciate you. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't, please subscribe. We put these out every Friday just as a way to tie back into, hey, what's happening in the market? What are we seeing? As we did this week. And sometimes I'll have super special guests. So thanks so much.
Bye, guys.